Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, this is the Daily Deucey podcast. Today is Monday, January 18th, 2 days away from inauguration of Joe Biden. We'll see what happens there. We got thousands, tens of thousands, 20, 30,000 troops in the Capitol. We have some people thinking that there's going to be a military coup. Let's hope not, but we got civil war possibly breaking off. And apparently we have Germany just bringing back the old school style. Germany to hold COVID rule breakers in refugee camps under new crackdown to stop Brit mutant virus explosion. Do we think that's a good idea? Germany's worst COVID rule breakers will be held in detention centers under new proposals being drawn up by a number of state governments. The move forms part of the country's effort to stop the spread of the more contagious mutant strain of the virus detected in the UK last month. Fucking UK mutants, bro. In the eastern state of Saxony, people who ignore lockdown measures will be held in a cordoned off part of a refugee camp being built next week. State authorities have said the center will only be used for those who repeatedly breach self-isolation requirements. A similar scheme was used in World War II. A similar scheme will be used in neighboring Brandenburg, while in northerly Schleswig-Holstein, rule breakers will be held in a part of a juvenile detention center. Like, what exactly are the rules that they're breaking? Good Lord. The southwestern state of Baden-Württemberg will reportedly use rooms in hospitals. Like what? Like on locked guard? The country's regional governments have powers to hold people who flout lockdown requirements under the Disease Protection Act, first passed by the federal parliament in March. Because you can't fucking pass something 6 months ago and then lock... Oh, my God. Well, it's not America. Thanks for your monies, Germany. Good Lord. Germany won praise for its early handling of the pandemic, though it has seen cases rise in recent months. It is now seeing around 18,000 people test positive a day and has so far recorded 47,440 deaths. That's probably closer to the actual number in America if we didn't fucking inflate it like nonsense. The government is also keen to avoid the spread of a mutant strain, the virus first detected in Britain in December. The strain is thought to be up to 70% more contagious than the original, and to be a contributing factor to recent surge in cases in the UK. How do you even figure that out? Like, it's 70% more contagious. Why is it not 72% more contagious? Why is it not 63% more contagious? Officials have expressed concern that more people continue to mix and use public transport than they did during the first lockdown in spring. Markus Söder, head state of Bavaria, has said the country must start taking the worrying mutant strain extremely seriously. Well, fuck it. If the mutants are coming, then yeah. I mean, if zombies and mutants are coming, then yeah, maybe we'll fucking start taking it seriously. The rules that we have may be clearly too few, he said, and the variant could quickly jeopardize all efforts of the past week. Current lockdown measures are due to expire on January 31st, but Chancellor Merkel is said to have told a working group of members to her Christian Democratic Union Party the country still needs 8 to 10 weeks of hard measures and labor if we do not manage to stop the British strain. Right. So let's get something straight. So it was not okay to call it the fucking China virus, but the British strain, because they're white people, that's cool, right? Then we will have tenfold incidents by Easter, she reportedly said. It is not currently clear how widely the new strain has spread within Germany. The German government wants to see the infection rate per 100,000 people, which is currently stands at 165, brought down 50 before the lockdown is lifted. Because, I mean, this ain't America, but you would think fucking Germany would know better than to lock people in fucking concentration camps. What are we talking about? I mean, moving along, maybe Germany should look into the Wii. According to HIV Plus magazine, are we fucking serious? Did I not look at that? Like, this is a thing? Okay. Marijuana may help prevent COVID-related respiratory distress, say University of Lethbridge in Canada. Fucking Canadians, bro. Of course. Maple syrup and weed. Researchers at the university have discovered that certain cannabis strains might offer some help in preventing acute respiratory distress in patients who have COVID-19. Acute respiratory distress happens when the virus overloads a person's immune system to a point when the body attacks itself and the patient needs to be placed on a ventilator. Shitty. The new study shows that certain strains of marijuana might slow that process down or even stop it. In this study, we identified 3 extracts that are very, very good strains. Some strains identified in previous studies were also pretty good. Very, very good strains, and then pretty good. Thanks, Olga. Olga Kovalchuk. Fucking Russians. Again, the Canadians and the Russians and the Chinese are going to get us. In this study, altogether, we have 5 strains we could formulate a clinical trial on right now. We need a chance to bring it to the evidence-based medicine realm. A clinical trial that can be peer-reviewed will be the next step in the research. Cannabis therapy wouldn't be a substitute for any medical treatment needed for COVID. But combined with what we already have, it could lessen the need for patients to take up hospital beds and ventilators. Super duper. Doctors Olga and Igor Kovalchuk, are they married? Have been working together at the University of Lethbridge Department of Biological Sciences along with a team of researchers from Pathway RX. The specific strains that have been most helpful are sativas, which are known to offer cannabis users more energy than indicas, which sometimes can induce lethargy. Researchers haven't publicly released the specific strains most useful for COVID patients. Wait a second. Wait. So they're not even releasing it yet? I mean, didn't the one guy in like Florida, like the councilman say like take a hairdryer and blow it into your fucking face and that would burn the COVID off? I mean, maybe that's the same. Maybe you just should be just heavily chiefing cigarettes and pipes and cigars and marijuana, and that's going to save everybody from the vid. I mean, we can only hope, right? And we could certainly hope to survive the COVID when Bitcoin hits 115K this August. Oh, Lord, that would be sweet. Hedge fund predicts 115K Bitcoin price and the fall of speculative altcoins. Analysts say Bitcoin and Ether's growing dominance of the crypto market are signals that the current bull market is drastically different than the last one. New data from Pantera Capital, I wonder if they blast hardcore metal, an investment firm and hedge fund, suggests that Bitcoin's current price action is closely following the stock-to-follow model's trajectory, and the firm's analysis believes Bitcoin will reach 115,212 by August 1st. Basically, 3.5x-ish. Bitcoin's parabolic rally may have placed the price a bit ahead of the model's projection, and this week's 28% correction sent temporary shivers across the market, but sharp corrections and short consolidation periods are characteristic of bull markets. So this is the important part, which has to do with the halvening, which, quick story short, and this is exactly what it says here, the model focuses on the price of impact of Bitcoin halvening events that cut the amount of Bitcoin minted every block in half every 4 years. So every 4 years, the amount that you create from mining it gets cut in half to eventually to a point where there is no more mined and you have your set finite number of Bitcoins, and then the fucking party really starts. But that's not going to be for a little while. When the Bitcoin price halved on May 11th, 2020, the price was around 8,000, and 6 months later, Bitcoin was trading above 15,000 and on the verge of entering a parabolic rally to a new all-time high. The chart above, here we go. The chart above shows the progress of Bitcoin's price in the days after each halvening. A similar pattern developed over the past two halvings, just with a different time span. The current Bitcoin performance appears to be in between 2012 market and 2016 cycles, which has the potential to lead the price of Bitcoin between 300,000 and 400,000 around 450 days after the last halving, or roughly August 4th. Because if Bitcoin jumped up to 300,000, hey man, like, we're like chilling at 35,000 right now. I know, like, a lot of people, this is like the point where you don't even really pay attention to this fucking podcast, but we are chilling around 35,000 right now. Like, it was 3,000 maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. Golly. Signs of a maturing market are another significant differences between this rally and the 2017 has to do with the overall market composition and where value is located. A majority of the value of the current market is consolidated in Bitcoin and Ether, as institutional investors have thus far chosen the most established chains to gain exposure to the cryptocurrency sector. Andy Ye, a public policy director for Visa in Greater China, pointed to this development in a tweet response to Pantera's report. This rally is different. Massive shift from high speculative non-functioning tokens in 2017 to Bitcoin and Ethereum today. I hope so, cuz I got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Ripple. And the Ripple's about to go down the drain. The Litecoin's still moving pretty decently. But the others, we're doing pretty good. Possible reasons for this shift in funds include institutional money focusing on Bitcoin as an entry point into the cryptocurrency market due to its network security and vast mining infrastructure, and the burgeoning decentralized finance ecosystem, which is predominantly built on the Ethereum network. As the DeFi ecosystem continues to grow, it will also attract institutional attention, further boosting the price of Ether as it is required to interact with all smart contracts and DeFi platforms on the Ethereum network. So DeFi, which is decentralized finance, I believe. So these are basically starting to do like interest accounts for your crypto, which is huge, dude. Like, if you hold your crypto on this, exchange, we'll give you 3% annual rate. Like, why wouldn't you? Let's see here. While Bitcoin and Ether currently hold 86% of the cryptocurrency market value, past market cycles would indicate the possible flow of funds out of the top cryptocurrencies and into promising new projects. This dynamic has led analysts like Raoul Pal to suggest after Bitcoin and Ether's stellar rally, the next stop will be higher risk alts. Media will have also reported that Goldman Sachs is rumored to be preparing to offer custody services for cryptocurrencies, which could set the stage for the next hype cycle for Bitcoin. A sustained inflow of money from the institutional class could be the catalyst that lifts the price of Bitcoin and keeps it in line with the projections of the stock-to-flow model. So I don't want to really get into like specific financy kind of shit, but we're really kind of getting to the point where this shit is getting serious. So fucking Greenberg, Mike Greenberg, yeah, Mike. He has his show, and he was talking about fucking Bitcoin the other day, Friday, on the radio, on ESPN. He's going, I don't even know what Bitcoin is. It's like rack and pinion steering, which great. Thanks, Mikey. I appreciate it, because when people like that are talking about it, that means people are jumping on board. I get messages all day about what they should do. And I'm not by any means some sort of professional. So if that happens, and then Goldman Sachs starts pumping it up, it's like that old EDM. There's like an EDM meme where it's got like the underground on the last train and it's empty. And then it goes like the cool kids. And then it goes like pop culture. And then it goes corporate. And like the kids are like jumping off the train. It's like that, except the underground train is like now made of gold and platinum, and then the cool kids train is like made of like fucking silver. Cause get some crypto bubs, or put it in your Bank of America savings account that gives you 0.08%. Let's go to the local story. Passaic Mayor, ex-Fairlawn Mayor say they rejected bribes and cooperated with the police I'm surprised they're still alive in Jersey business, because this actually links into our last story about Omid Body Yadi 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 Yadi. In 2008, Passaic Mayor Sammy Rivera was sent to prison for accepting a $5,000 bribe. He was succeeded by Alex Blanco, who promised zero tolerance for corruption. He too was sent to prison for accepting bribes. In all, 3 Passaic mayors were imprisoned over 2 decades. So it is not surprising that when current Mayor Hector Laura received an envelope with a check and apparent bribe, he knew what he had to do. Who writes a check? Like, come on, babe. Send them some Bitcoin. He would have taken that. He reported it to the authorities. I am far from perfect, Laura said, but I do want to do the right thing for my faith, my family, my city, and those who place their trust in me to serve in the public office. On Wednesday, state authorities announced the arrest of Passaic Valley Sewerage Commission employee, as the Daily Deucey podcast reported, who allegedly attempted to bribe a senior official at the agency to climb high on the commission's ranks. Laura now says he and fellow Passaic Valley Sewerage Commission John Cosgrove, I feel like I've seen this guy before too, were honest politicians who both reported an attempted bribe last summer, and their actions led to charges filed against the suspect. I'm proud of my colleague, Commissioner Cosgrove, Laura said. Though we never spoke to each other prior to or throughout the process about these matters, it is extremely encouraging to know we both had immediate or similar responses in rejecting any attempts to be compromised. Cosgrove, a former mayor of Fairlawn, confirmed that he was contacted, but wouldn't go into the details because of the investigation, other than to say that when the attempt was made, he immediately reported it. Sources, however, say that Cosgrove, who ultimately wore the wire, cuz you wore a wire? What a rat, dude. What a rat. You wore a wire. Wore wire that led to the arrest of Omid Body Yadi 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 Yadi, who was working for the commission in Newark when he allegedly offered Laura a $1,200 check. Wow. So he gave these 2 guys the checks. Wow. I don't really care about Biotti because we profited on that. Good. So, listen, I've never met Laura. I don't know Cosgrove. You know, I know Laura's buddies with Sarlo, and I've never met him, but he's actually kind of, you know, he does a lot of shit on social media, and he's fairly popular. And listen, he's been trying to do the shit right for Passaic. You know, as much as a Blanco I am, and as much as there's not too much different types of people in Woodridge, I actually grew up spending a lot of time in Passaic. Both my parents were on the methadone clinic, and I would be in Passaic going to that clinic almost every day, fairly often, especially when I was younger. You know, so we went shopping down there, fucking go, you know. I know a lot about Passaic. My mother's lived there through the good times and bad. So I have a nice little thing in my heart for Passaic. There's mad Mexicans in Passaic now, whom, again, you can quote Deucey, Mexicans are my favorite people in the world, much more favorite than the Blancos. So I got no problem with that. Get some Punto Fijo at the Dominican place, some Pernil, we're good to go. So, you know, I'm not going to play this video, but Laura's trying to really make Passaic a nicer place, dude. They tore down all these like old factories and railroad tracks and are building up a nice park for the people. God bless. I hope they do well. Last story in our gaming section, Deucey Gaming. Check out the YouTube for a nice 15-kill Fortnite trio dub by your boy. Rockstar developers patent new NPC tech, potentially for GTA 6. A whole new world of smart drivers? A patent filed by Take-Two Interactive details a new Rockstar-developed system for managing NPC navigation, with details explicitly referring to vehicle, road routes, and behavior. The new system is designed to create a realistic virtual world that is not limited by hardware and software limitations. The patent details boats, cars, and drivers throughout. Of particular note is that the system means each NPC can define its own specific characteristics for traversing the road nodes. Now, an NPC is a non-player character, so if you're walking around GTA and there's somebody walking down the block and they're controlled by the computer, that's an NPC. So without jumping to concrete conclusions, it's possible that the system is designed by Rockstar Programs for a vehicular traffic system that would be used for Grand Theft Auto 6, even though they haven't really mentioned much about that project. Now, of particular note is the line of patents that explains the system for virtual navigation and management of objects in a multiplayer network gaming community. If the system has been designed for a multiplayer game, it raises the question of Grand Theft Auto 6 will be an online experience. Alternatively, perhaps this system has been built to be implemented into GTA Online because the details refer to older generation consoles. So, cause ever since like GTA 3 came out and like that like blew people's minds because of the crazy shit you're actually doing, we've been waiting for it to be completely online where you just walk around a real world and every single other person that you see is a real person. Now, GTA Online is kind of close to that now. They do fucking role playing and all types of silly shit, but it's not really up to that yet. Cyberpunk they haven't released their online yet. I'm hoping that that's going to be kind of similar to that, but that's what these worlds are going to be. These games are going to be so vast that every single player that you get in there with is going to be a real player. Or with AI and everything, you won't be able to tell the difference. Just like in Westworld, when the really smoking hot blonde chick says, if you can't tell the difference, does it really matter? I don't know. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. We'll be here tomorrow, the 19th. Hopefully the world doesn't blow up and the military doesn't take over, because I need to keep playing Fortnite and have the internet. Adios.